Paul Skeens and Ranger Suarez dominate on Sunday, and the Dodgers avoided the sweep in San Diego as the division is now tied. We'll be getting to all of it on MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome to MLB Game Night, every game, every night. I'm your Sunday night host, Brian McKeon, alongside my partner and Locked On Angels host, Jon Frisch. John, what's going on today?
Hey, I'm having a good day despite the Angels getting swept, but maybe that'll make the front office actually do something for 2026. We'll see.
Wishful thinking. Well, coming up on today's show, the AL wildcard tightens up as the Yankees, Royals, Rangers, and Mariners all won, and the final NL wildcard spot is only separated by a game and a half. But before I get going, we're going to start with our sponsor for today, which is 5 Hour Energy. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. So speaking of the divisions in the AL wildcard, we're going to start with the Red Sox and the Yankees, which just ended if you finish up Sunday Night Baseball. So the Yankees lose 3 out of 4 in this season. They laid down through the entire series, really played awful baseball. You come back on Sunday, play a little bit better. Carlos Rodon gives you an absolutely unbelievable start. Dustin May was not good for the Red Sox. Jazz Chisholm Jr. gave him 2 home runs in this game. Trent Grisham gave you 2 home runs. Other than that, though, John, as a Yankee host, as the Yankee fan, as everything involved, this is the most upsetting series of the season for them because you have an easy schedule throughout the rest of the year. There's a legitimate chance to be made that they could actually come back and beat Toronto in the division. They could actually come back and take the wild card spot from the Red Sox. You come into this series leading the Red Sox in the wild card, and you just lay an absolute egg losing 3 out of 4. This, by the way, Sunday's win was prior to losing 8 in a row to the Boston Red Sox.
Right.
I mean, just absolutely awful, pathetic a job out of the Yankees. They go to they welcome Washington in to play them for 3 games. Then they're going to play Chicago and go there for 3 games. They have an unbelievably easy schedule. As a Yankee fan, as a Yankee host, they're going to make the postseason.
Sure.
Their schedule is too easy. They're going to get in, but they're not a good baseball team. And I keep trying to tell people and people that watch Locked On Yankees, they hear me and they hear me say it and everything, but it proves itself week after week. They play a good team and they look lifeless. And they play their normal schedule and they look great. I can't sit here and give you a reason for why this happens, for what kind of team this is. What I do know, though, is day game after a night game, Red Sox come out and destroy the Yankees. Yankees come out and look lifeless. John, I know a lot of that has to do with who's managing a baseball team and who has the team ready to go on a Saturday. The Red Sox clearly were ready to go. Yankees weren't.
Yeah. Look, you got an easy schedule the rest of the way. There's something, as much as I love StatCast and data and analytics, I nerd out on FanGraphs. Brian, there's such a thing as momentum. And if you guys can ride the rest of this season, picking up win after win after win, you might be able to take that into the postseason. Like you said, the Yankees are going to be there. What they do in the postseason is a different story. But at the end of the season, maybe there's going to be a little bit of momentum. Maybe there's going to be some good chemistry with all the new guys on the team. So here I am trying to give you hope as a Yankees fan. Maybe I'm having too much hopium over here as an Angels fan.
I hope when I grow up, I have as much confidence as you do in my team.
By the way, can you snag me one of those George Costanza under the desk bobbleheads? That would be
dude. People are selling them for hundreds of dollars online. I don't understand it. The bobbleheads. I'm a Yankee season ticket holder.
Yeah,
I make sure to sell every single one of my bobblehead games because people pay a fortune to get in for those games. The Red Sox are going to head to Baltimore for 4 games. After this, they now have a lead on the wild card series. As we go to the Guardians at the Rangers. Rangers win this game 5-0. They sweep the Guardians. So even worse for the Yankees is the Rangers are directly behind them chasing. Let's hear Justin Latta of Locked On Guardians. He's in some kind of mood as he details what went wrong for Cleveland.
Move past frustrating to depressing. That is the word of the day to describe the Guardians. Depressing. It's Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians. The Guardians swept by the Rangers this weekend. They're now 2-8 in their last 10. and they have not scored a run in 19 innings. Even worse, the Guardians worked 2 walks all weekend. This is not the kind of offense that can afford not to be patient and take walks. The Rangers threw a lot of strikes, I'll give them that, but you've got to put up better at-bats, you've got to have a better approach, and you've got to figure things out. The highlight of the offensive weekend is that CJ Kafis and Kyle Manzardo both played every game, which is good because this team needs them to play every day to figure it out, whether they figure it out at some point this year as the year goes on or they figure it out for 2026. Can't win a whole lot of games, though, when you're starting pitcher. Well, you can't win games when you outscore, but can't win a lot of games, too, when you have Gavin Williams having Jekyll and Hyde starts and doesn't get out of the 5th, 4th inning in this one. Very tough. The Guardians do have the Mariners, the Royals, and the Red Sox ahead of them. Those are all teams that are ahead of them in the wild card standings, so they do have some chances to control their own fate. The question is whether or not they actually have the ability to win those games and get themselves back in the race. We'll have plenty to talk about going forward on Locked On Guardians. Be there.
John, drawing two walks all season is psychotic, to say the least.
Oof.
That is a crazy bad stat line if you're the Guardians. They get swept in this series. Merrill Kelly goes 7 innings of no earned ball, 4 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts in this game. Gavin Williams goes 3 1/3 with 3 runs, 3 hits, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Rowdy Tellez got a homer in the 4th. He had a 2-run shot, and Jock Peterson had a solo shot in the 7th. Like he said, the Guardians are going to face the Rays for 3 games, and they currently are 5 games back at the final wildcard spot. Not good, but all the other teams won. Texas is now 4.5 back. They slid from the playoff spot, but again, I still love Texas. Their lineup, that pitching staff, I have a lot of confidence in them still, but they can't seem to win games straight, and they're going to head to play your Angels. So we'll see what that series looks like, because I love that Texas team. I think they're really good.
Yeah, and they're having guys come around at just the right time too, like Jock Peterson hitting a solo homer in this one as well, and he's been dreadful all season, and he's finally being somewhat productive. Not typical Jock Peterson, but at least he's showing up, right?
Yep. To stick with the AL wild card, the Royals at the Tigers. Royals won this game 10-8. Tigers took 2 out of 3 in this game in this series. Jack Flaherty goes 5 innings of 8 earned, 10 hits, no walks, 3 Ks. John, he's been awful since getting over there. It's crazy. They made that deadline deal to pick up a starting pitcher. He has been terrible. We highlighted a couple weeks ago the start that he had against the Twins, his former team, which was awful. This is even worse somehow. Seth Lugo goes 4 1/3 with 6 earned, which is also unlike Seth Lugo. 6 hits, 2 walks, 5 Ks. This was a lot of runs scored in this game. Vinny Pasquantino homered in the 3rd, and Michael Garcia homered in the 7th. Bobby Witt Jr. and Mike Yastrzemski also had RBIs in this game, but this was if you had the over in this game, you were loving it. The Royals now sit 3 games out for the final wild card spot behind the Mariners. They'll stay on the road and take on the White Sox for 3 games. The Tigers, they have a 10.5 game lead in the Central. They're going to win that division.
Right. They'll
go to Sacramento for 3 games. And then, John, Reds at Diamondbacks. Now, I'm going to, full disclosure, I was at Circa Swim earlier today. I'm live from Las Vegas. Behind me is the Nobu. Me and my friend had the Reds in a live bet today behind the Diamondbacks, who came back, scored 6 runs late in this game after being down 1-0, a 6-1 victory for the Reds. Now, the Diamondbacks took 2 out of 3 in this series. Let's hear from Jeff Carr, the Locked On Reds host, as he details Brady Singer's fantastic start in this game.
Singer just keeps getting better as the year goes along. And hey, the Reds ain't been swept yet. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And Brady Singer was awesome. He did give up 1 run in the first inning, and you wondered about how the rest of the game would go. But he was able to buckle down. Just gave up that 1 hit. Just gave up that 1 run. Had lots of strikeouts in key moments, and his fielding did not help him. There were a couple of errors that looked like the Diamondbacks were about to blow the doors off, and he was able to buckle down and get them out. He has now had 6 straight starts where he's allowed 7 total runs in those 6 starts. He is looking fantastic as the year goes along. Oh, by the way, Noelvi Marte, pretty good day as well. A Little League home run, his second of the year. And then also really advanced nicely, great base running to get the 8th inning going on a fly ball to Corbin Carroll in right field. He advanced from first to second, and it just seemed like the Reds took off from there in that inning, blew the doors off, and ended up winning 6-1. Now we head to L.A., but hey, the Mets lose. Reds a game and a half out of the wild card. Can't quit these Reds.
Mets loss kept it close, and he mentioned that Noelvi Marte inside the park home run, John. That was massive, and The tag up from first to second was huge in this game too, because it showed the urgency the Reds had. And you get that out of a manager like Terry Francona pursuing his team to actually go for that kind of stuff, stealing. That's where managerial moves really come in. He's like, you know what? It's September. It's nearly September. It's late August. We're close in this race. He looks at the scoreboard, sees the Mets lost that game earlier. We're going to start pushing a little bit. And now it's only a game and a half back. Brady Singer was absolutely elite. Reds still have not been swept all year. Zach Gallen goes 6 innings, 1 earned, 4 hits, 1 walk, 7 Ks. It's still not enough. This Reds team has the talent, I think. Yeah, I think they're good enough, and they're not fun to play. It's just about if they can keep up playing consistent, and their schedule is a little tough on the way out. They're going to head to LA to play the Dodgers for 3.5 games, but they're still only a game and a half back of the Mets. So really interesting stuff going forward. John, that NL wildcard race is going to be really, really interesting. And speaking of which, we're going to discuss that Mets-Braves series coming up next. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. The grape, ginger, and lime-flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Now, a couple days ago, I was at the driving range at Torrey Pines in San Diego. Unbelievable experience, beautiful course, Pacific Ocean in the distance. You have to get there. And the only thing that can make that day more perfect was sipping a little bit of 5-Hour Energy while I'm on the driving range, while I'm hitting terrible golf shots, golf shots 5 feet in front of me. Golf is all about the good times with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or having to chase down the beverage cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the United States. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. It excludes the Masters tournament, and it ends October 31st, 2025. So, John, to that Mets-Braves series, which was key, it made that Reds game even more key later on. Mets take 2 out of 3 in this series, but the Braves get the final game 4-3 in this game. Let's hear from Chris Schubert of Locked On Mets. He explains how the Mets came up short after building momentum heading into this week's series against the Phillies.
A feeling of disappointment here on Sunday, not just because the Mets lost in their pursuit of a sweep of the Atlanta Braves, but the opportunity that slipped through their fingers to have some real positive momentum going into a really important series against the Philadelphia Phillies. And it was all going according to plan. Mark Vientos, who continues to be swinging a hot bat, got the Mets in front early with David Peterson on the mound. You're dreaming of the Mets riding a 3-game winning streak going into Philly, but they couldn't tack on against Bryce Elder, starter for the Braves. The door was left just a little bit open for the Braves. They struck to tie the game in the 6th. The Mets, again, offensively, couldn't do anything outside of Mark Vientos' home runs. Gregory Soto, given a high leverage chance in the 8th inning, well, kind of melted down in front of his eyes. He gave up a pair of runs to put the Braves in front, and the Mets now 0-53 when trailing after 8 innings this season. It was a chance on a golden platter for this team. Go into Atlanta, a house of horrors, pick up a series sweep, and have some real momentum going into Philly. Instead, it's a really sour taste in everybody's mouths ahead of a really important matchup with Philly.
Like you said, the Mets now 0-53 after trailing after 8 innings in this season. Absolutely horrendous for this team. After you pick up major deadline acquisitions, now Soto didn't come through in this game. Helsley has been nothing great for them at all for the Mets in this since they've acquired him. David Peterson goes 5 2/3 with 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. Elder wasn't great, but it wasn't enough for the Mets, and I kind of agree with him on that point too. They really had a chance to pick up momentum before heading into Philly. They had that Zach Wheeler injury, obviously. He's not going to be available throughout the postseason. So you actually had a chance to build some momentum going into Philly, and now this is a really tough stretch for the Mets having to play Philadelphia, who, quite frankly, is just better than them, if I could just say it, John.
Yeah, and when you hear about the fact that the regulars, Alonso, Lindor, Soto, can't come through in this game, I mean, those are the guys you need to count on, and for none of them to be able to get this win in the last game of the series against the Braves. That's some opposite momentum that you want heading into a Phillies series.
That Braves team is going to head to Miami to take on the Marlins for 3 games. The Mets, they're going to stay home against the Phillies for 3 games. They're 7 games behind the Phillies in the NL East, and there are a game and a half above that Reds team who's going to play the Dodgers. Speaking of the Dodgers, they played the Padres in San Diego. 8-2 win for the Dodgers, but a 2 out of 3 for the Padres in this series. And John, the division is now tied. Man. That NL West is absolutely ridiculous. Both of those teams are stacked, and it's going to be a really fun finish to the season between those 2 teams. Yoshinobu Yamamoto goes 2 earned, 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Nick Pivetta goes 6 innings, 2 earned, 2 hits, 3 walks, and 7 Ks. But Freddie Freeman, homers in the 6th to tie it at 2, and then a 2-run homer in the 7th to get it going. What an unbelievable player. It just keeps coming through for the Dodgers. Ohtani added on with a home run in the 9th inning there. What an unbelievably fun finish to the season this is going to be. The Dodgers have a much easier schedule than the Padres. So we'll see how that looks. They have a couple of series against the Pirates. They play not really good. The Rockies, they still have a series against. Not very good teams. The Dodgers are going to head home. They're going to play 3 games against the Reds like we just talked about. They're tied with the Padres. The Padres are going to head to Seattle for 5 games because you have that doubleheader situation of rainouts and stuff like that. So that should be interesting. Really, really fun finish to the season going on between those 2 teams in the NL West.
Yeah, rematch for the Eddie Vedder Cup between the Padres and the Mariners there. There you go.
The Eddie Vedder Cup. What an unbelievable pull there. Nationals at the Phillies. Phillies 3-2 victory here, but the Phillies took 2 out of 3 from the Nationals. Let's hear from Mark Frazetta of the Locked On Phillies postcast. He has no shame in celebrating a series win over the Nats.
Only taking 2 out of 3 against the Washington Nationals isn't really cause for celebration, but when the Nats have been the thorn in the side of the Mets and the Phillies as of late, yeah, this is well worth celebrating. Phillies get the 3-2 victory over the Washington Nationals to take 2 of 3 of their weekend series. Ranger Suarez dominant through 7 scoreless innings of baseball, only allowing 3 hits, no walks, didn't hit anybody either, and also struck out a career-high 11 batters, picking up his 10th win of the season. Tanner Banks also came in a bases-loaded, nobody-out situation and allowed just 1 run to score, getting the ground ball, double play ball that he needed and got out of that jam. Then the Phillies also looked to Orion Kerkering in the 9th inning. He picked up the save despite allowing a solo home run, and Rafael Marchand getting the start behind the plate drove in all 3 Phillies runs in the victory. Now the Phillies head to Flushing, New York to take on the New York Mets, who they lead in the NL East now by 7 games.
Hey, John, I'd love to act surprised, but Ranger Suarez, 7 innings, no earned, 3 hits, no walks, 11 strikeouts. He's so unbelievably good, and it's every start for him. He's unbelievably consistent in every start. He never has a bad start. Unbelievable. And how about the Phillies' backup catcher, Rafael Marchand? We'll see what that means for JT Realmuto approaching a contract situation. If they love what they have in their backup situation, do they let him walk? We'll see. I'm not trying to spew any news there at all, but we'll see what winds up happening because that could be a wild one. He had all the RBIs in this game, though, doubled in the 2nd, drove in 2, and walked with the bases loaded in the 3rd. That was all the Phillies needed to win this game. Like he said, Phillies head to New York to face the Mets for 3 games. That's going to be, they have a 7-game lead in the NL East. The Nationals are going to head to New York. Also, they're going to play the Yankees for 3 games. But that Nationals team, by the way, spunky, annoying, pesky. That's the best word to use. They are an aggravating team to play. You look at that team when you go into a series against them thinking, oh, this could be an easy one. We could take advantage of this team. Not so fast. Nope. That Washington Nationals team is a really, really annoying kind of baseball team to play. Last for here, Giants at the Brewers. It's a 4-3 win for the Giants. They take 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. Let's hear from Chuck of Locked On Brewers. He's disappointed in the outcome, but he makes a great point about the Brewers bullpen here.
Brewers couldn't close it out, man. It's a rare losing series at home. Hey, everybody. Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers, especially on the great celebration with Bob Uecker and all that today. Disappointing, and I know some of you guys are complaining about Trevor McGill. I don't even have to check Twitter, and I know Twitter's on fire about McGill, what happened on Friday night, a couple of other struggles, but I'm telling you, it's better than having Devin Williams. This guy's still an all-time all-star closer. We expect these guys to be perfect coming in. McGill wasn't, and he blew the save. We move on to Arizona coming in. I don't like when Sigler pitch hits for Durbin. I want Durbin batting in the 9th inning. Man, I feel great with Durbin's at the plate. I don't care if the guy's ever like an 0 for 50 slump. I want Durbin at the plate. Righty, lefty, doesn't matter. Talk more about that tonight on the next edition of Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe.
Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate that one. Thanks for the Devin Williams trade. Love that for me. Yeah, McGill doesn't have a lot of blown saves this year, and they've obviously really advanced after they trade away Devin Williams. They actually get their starting third baseman in that trade, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a messy situation for the Yankees. Not really proud of the whole thing. Really upsetting for me.
I don't blame you. It's been a up and down roller coaster with Devin Williams, but he pitched in the 8th tonight, looked great, and you got the W. So that there you go.
Exactly. Yeah, you know how to instill the confidence in me. Robbie Ray, 3 earned over 6 innings, 6 hits, 4 walks, no strikeouts. Brandon Woodruff, 5 1/3, 2 earns, 4 hits, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts in this game. A rare losing series for the Brewers at home.
Yeah.
You rarely see this happen. Giants are going to head to the Cubs to take on them for 3 games in the friendly confines. The Brewers are going to head to Arizona for 4, and they're now 5 games ahead of the Cubs in the Central, who have cut that lead down.
Yeah.
So we'll see what winds up happening going forward.
You're welcome, Cubs fans. You're very welcome for that.
As he tips the Angels cap. We'll get to that on the other side. And plus, a battle of 2 Titans coming forward. Stay tuned for what game that was. Guys, the holidays are my favorite time of year, and it's coming closer than ever. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for the bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. Can you ever really go bad with the Chiefs' future? Not really. What about 49ers? I love them coming into this year. You can get the Eagles at good money to win the NFC East. There's a lot of good bets out there, and you can get ahead of all of them on August 26th before the public gets involved. Get in on it with FanDuel. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because FanDuel is 1 day and 1 day only. FanDuel, play your game. So, John, the area of expertise that you rely on for us, Cubs at Angels, 4-3 victory for the Cubs. Chicago Cubs swept the series against the Angels, and I'm sorry. Where do I go from here?
You know what? This obviously competitive team, I'm putting that in air quotes for those on the audio side. That's what our GM had to say at the trade deadline. They've dropped every series since the trade deadline, by the way. Now, it was a special occasion. Kyle Hendricks got the start against his former club that he won the World Series with. Fantastic career there in Chicago. He was opposed by Jamison Taillon, who picked up the win, 1 earned run over 5 innings. It was just a solo home run to Taylor Ward, who's got 30 on the season, by the way. How about a Taylor Ward trade with the Yankees? Let's do something like that over the offseason. That'd be fun. But Kyle Hendricks took the L in this one, 4 earnings over 4 1/3 innings pitched. The Cubs needed this series because the offense came alive, especially Kyle Tucker, who as an Astro was an Angel killer, and he has been slumping. And so for him to get this momentum against the Angels, he had an RBI single today. Nico Horner, an RBI double. PCA had a sacrifice fly, and Carson Kelly scored Kyle Tucker on an RBI single. Angels made it interesting at the end, which they always seem to do, but unfortunately Daniel Palencia shut the door in the 9th. That helped the Cubbies complete the sweep. The Cubs are headed to San Francisco, as we mentioned, and the Angels are headed for the Texas two-step, as we call it, as they face the Rangers and the Astros this week.
Really interesting stuff how Kyle Tucker had that fractured hand earlier in the year and just never got it repaired, never got it looked at, anything like that. Played through the rest of the year, so it kind of should result in seeing why that slump was going on and why his numbers are a little lower than they've usually been. But still, for him to get going here, like you said, the Cubs needed this series so bad, and for the Brewers to lose a series when the Cubs go to LA and sweep the Angels. Absolutely crucial for the Cubs. Again, this division getting down to 5 games is unbelievable, where it was 9 a week ago. I think it got to 10 at one point a week ago. That Brewers series helped the Cubs out a lot, and the Angels helped them out a lot too. So we'll see what winds up happening as the Cubs are going to head to San Francisco. And Giants, just beat the Brewers, but aren't really a great team and aren't really playing for much going forward either. So we'll see what the Cubs go up doing as they stay in California there. Rockies at the Pirates. I mentioned a battle of 2 Titans. This was certainly it. 4-0 Pirate victory. Here's Gary from the Locked On Pirates podcast on what the Pirates can learn about their team in a series like this.
Pirates did what you're supposed to do to the Rockies. They swept them and they shut them out for a second time in this series. Their 16th shutout of the season. Hey, this is Gary from Locked On Pirates. The pitching is a story. No matter who you're facing, no matter what. You throw this many shutouts, it's a sign that your pitching is special. And the Pirates' pitching is special. More than anything, this series against the Rockies has shown me, at least, the importance of putting a few hitters onto this team next year, as opposed to thinking that you have to redo the math or start over or move backwards in any way, shape, or form. I just do not think that's the path for this team. Jared Triolo, again, came up big in this one offensively. He's really stepped up these last few weeks. It's getting to the point where you got to start taking it a little more seriously. Again, whether you like it or not, whether you've decided about him or not, this is exactly what this time of year is about for a non-contending team. And when you learn something, you have to actually take the knowledge. And I think that's what you got to do with Jared Triolo. Let's see how it plays out the rest of the year. More on this tomorrow.
I hate it for Gary's sake that he has to watch this team and be like, oh, well, next April, we'll see what the Pirates come out of giving us. I don't like that for him, but Paul Skeens, what else is new? No earned, seven innings, 3 hits, no walks, 7 Ks. Unbelievable. Absolutely electric. I do love the quote coming in from Gary at the start of his short there. This is what they're supposed to do to the Rockies. I bet a lot of Rockies fans came into this series thinking that they could beat the Pirates in this series. So it is a little bit of a funny one. Triolo obviously was great in this game, and IKF doubled late in this game too. All the offense was scored in the 4th inning too. So I do like that he's seeing things from the Pirates, and it's a good point. This is where they have to learn things about their team. So we'll see if they can use this for a little momentum. The Pirates also a little bit of a kind of annoying team to play too. They do win some games that they're not supposed to.
They put the ball in play, man. They slap that thing around, and they make contact, and I think that's what's key for the pitching.
And their pitching is better than a lot of people realize. Again, 16 shutouts in the year, better than a lot of people realize. Rocky's going to head to Houston for 3 games. The Pirates are going to head to St. Louis for 4 games. Twins at the White Sox, an 8-0 victory for the White Sox. The White Sox take the series with a big win over the Twins today. Todd Welter of the Locked On White Sox podcast has the details of the young rookies who might be providing some hope for Chicago fans next year.
Colson Montgomery homered again, and Kyle Teal and Edgar Carroll continue to drive in runs. And those 3 rookies producing at the plate continues to produce hope that better days are just around the corner. Hello, I'm Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox. And the White Sox rout the Twins 8-0. For the second straight game, the lineup jumped on a Twin starter early by putting up 7 runs over the first 2 innings. Montgomery, Teal, and Carroll combined to drive in 6 of those runs. Colson homered in his 3rd straight game with a 2-run blast in the 2nd. And if those 3 can produce like they did in this series against the Twins, Chicago has a great shot of climbing out of the AL Central cellar next season, maybe throwing the Twins in it during the process. And I'll have more on tomorrow's episode of Locked On White Sox.
Love that. Throwing some shade there, some feistiness out of there. Love it for sure. We'll see what winds up happening. Both of these teams are now fitting themselves for their golf clubs coming into the offseason. Right. Specifically the Minnesota Twins, who have felt like they've been doing that since the trade deadline happened. Twins are going to head to Toronto to take on the Blue Jays for 3. The White Sox will stay home and take on the Royals as part of their 10-game homestand, which is a ton of games they're going to play at home there. Cardinals at the Rays, John. Rays win this game 7-2. They take 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals. Matthew Liberatore, 4 earned, 4 1/3, 3 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Ryan Pepio, 5 innings, 1 earned, 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 Ks. Junior Caminero, who has had an unbelievable year for the Rockies, that many people aren't even for the Rays, that many people aren't realizing, had a grand slam in the fifth inning of this game, made it 5-0. He has 37 homers and 91 RBIs in the season. One quick question for you. Oh, no. Is it a product of George Steinbrenner fielding the ball flying out of there, or is he that good?
Ooh, that's a good question. Look, I got to believe it's got to be a product of that field, particularly because everybody's been hitting there, right? Everybody, all the visiting teams who go there, they're hitting home runs left and right. But Junior Caminero's a stud. They were going to offer him for Shohei Ohtani to the Angels for the half season of Ohtani in 2023. Unfortunately, the Angels did not take that deal, but top prospect for a reason, man. And I think that he's got a lot in the tank. And I think moving forward, he's going to be very, very special.
Absolutely. Rays head on the road to Cleveland. The Cardinals are going to head home for 4 against the Pirates. Astros at the Orioles. Orioles win this game 3-2. Astros took 3 out of 4 from the Orioles. Spencer Arrighetti, 2 earned, 5 2/3, 6 hits, no walks, 2 Ks. And Trevor Rogers, Gives them 1 earned over seven innings, 5 hits,
Unbelievable.
3 walks, 9 strikeouts. Unbelievable how good he's been.
Yeah.
Gunnar Henderson in this game, he homered in the first. Luis Vasquez homered in the 7th for the Orioles. Unbelievable how good Trevor Rogers has been lately. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, it's such a surprise the way that he's been able to, come in halfway through the season. I think he got back late May, early June, and he's just been tearing it up. So hopefully that's something to build off of next year for Baltimore, or make a nice deal over the offseason and get some pieces in return that the Orioles could obviously use next year.
100%. Astros head home for a practice series for 3 against the Rockies. They hold a 2-game lead on the West, and the Orioles will stay home and take on Boston for 4 games. Blue Jays at the Marlins. Marlins win this game 5-3, but Blue Jays take 2 out of 3. Kevin Gausman goes 6 innings of 4 and 7 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. He's been really good lately for them, too. Yuri Perez, who's one of the top trade deadline targets, but didn't get moved. 6 innings, 2 earned, 3 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Jacob Marcy had a bases-loaded triple in the 5th inning. That wound up being enough for the Marlins in this game. Marlins going to stay home and take on the Braves for 3 games. That Blue Jay team will welcome the Twins into town for 3 games with a 4.5 lead on the AL East over the Red Sox. And the Athletics at the Mariners. 11-4 victory for the Mariners here. Mariners take 2 out of 3 from the Athletics. It was the Cal Raleigh weekend, though. He placed himself into the record books, made himself the home run king for catchers. Here's Ty Dan Gonzalez of Locked On Mariners on the win.
Afternoon at T-Mobile Park. Not only were Mariners fans treated to a much-needed series victory, but also a little bit of history. This is Ty Dan Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast here. Logan Gilbert spun 6 fantastic innings today. He was probably the best we've seen him all year long. Career high 13 strikeouts for Logan. Mariners win 11-4, get a much-needed series victory, like I said, but both of those things are ultimately footnotes given what Cal Raleigh did today. His 48th and 49th home runs on the season coming in the first and second innings of this game not only got the party going for the Mariners offensively, but also cemented him at the very top of the list all by himself for the most home runs in a single season by any catcher ever, surpassing Salvador Perez. And oh, by the way, it's only August 24th.
Yeah, that Yankee fan in me is really hoping that he doesn't pass Judge at some point, although he absolutely could. The A's head to Detroit for 3 games. The Mariners are going to welcome the Padres into town for 3 games. They remain 2 games back on the Astros team in the AL West, so that is a really close division. We'll see if Logan Gilbert can keep up that pitching because he's been really good lately. John, I thank you once again for this week. Really good week of baseball, and these division races are getting really, really tight. I'm looking forward to the next couple weeks with you. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all coming down to September, which is kind of what you want, right? When you're a baseball fan.
Exactly what you want. And it's going to be really exciting. These wildcard races are super, super tight. And thank you for joining us here for this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We hope that you'll come back and visit us next week on Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night.